The alternator is a crucial component in any vehicle, but one common problem is the potential for the IC regulator of the alternator to burn out. Finding a replacement IC can be challenging. So, let's explore the option of installing an external IC control unit for a car alternator. Thanks for subscribing to my channel. First, you have to understand the basics about the alternator to do any modification. Alternator is a power generator. There is a coil connected with 6 diodes to convert alternative current to direct current. All the cathode connected are taking power to the battery for charging the battery. And the connected 3 anodes are grounded. We call that coil as starter coil and the 6 diodes plate as the rectifier. There is another coil called field coil. It is to create electrical magnetic field to activate the alternator. One side of the field coil is grounded and the other side is connected to the control unit. Additionally, the battery indicator is also connected to the control unit. This control unit detects the voltage and control the field coil and the battery indicator bulb. I will label the important pins for the future reference. When your engine is running, it activates a drive belt that sits on a pulley connected to the alternator. This pulley rotates the alternator's rotor shaft, causing a group of magnets within a coil to spin. This spinning motion of magnets creates alternating current, AC, in the stator, which is then directed to the alternator's rectifier. The rectifier transforms this AC power into DC power, which in turn powers your vehicle's electrical components. Since the everything are controlled by the IC control unit, the issue comes when the control unit of the alternator is burnt. That is why we need an external alternator IC unit. This unit is with 4 wires. Before installing an external unit, you have to do some modifications. Initially you have to remove the regulator IC from the alternator. And disconnect the connection between ground and field coil. Now you have to get 3 diodes from each connection of starter coil. You can use 1N4007 diodes. Then connect all the 3 cathodes together. And connect with the field coil. I have labeled it by the letter D. Now connect the red wire of the external IC with ignition wire, and green wire of the external IC with the field coil labeled by letter E, and black wire to the ground and finally, the yellow wire to the battery indicator. Now I am going to explain the wiring connections using a real alternator unit. I am taking out the starter coil of the alternator. The labeled pin A, B and C are like this in the starter coil. This is the field coil. You can see it is like a part of a motor. According to my drawing, those pins are labeled as D and E. These pins are connected with the brushers like this. You can see now the rectifiers or the diode plate. As same as the drawing, 6 rectifiers are located to connect with the starter coil. This is the common cathodes of the diode plate. It will be connected with the battery to out the generated power to charge the car battery. The hole, next to the brushes is the place located the control unit. You have to remove that control unit before installing an external IC unit. When you connect the additional 3 diodes, you have to connect with the correct wires. This is how those diodes are connected with starter coil and the 6 rectifiers. Connected common cathode is to the field coil. And the yellow wire of the external IC unit to the battery light and the field coil is connected the green wire. But in practically, you have to find the locations of the said wires on the alternator IC remove place. You can check it using a testing equipment. This is to a field coil. You can connect the 3 rectifiers to that point. And this is the next pin of the field coil brush to connect the green wire of the external IC unit. The power connector's path linked here the ignition wire. Then the red wire can be connected to this point. Light wire or the battery indicator wire is connected to the IC unit in this location. You can connect the yellow wire to that point as well. When you installing it with the car alternator, you have to take the wires out from the alternator and mount the external IC unit on the alternator like this. Finally, do you feel that you can fix the alternator at your home? Then it would be nice. If you face any difficulties when building this project, do not forget to mention in the comments. I will see you with next video. Be innovative, stay with SetNFix.